Hi everyone, welcome back to Minecraft. Where's the chickens? Or are they just outside the rendered range? I don't know. What should we talk? No man, you know that, you know that conversation we had a couple of episodes back where I had a great idea to talk about, but now I can't remember what it was. That just happened. I really don't remember what it was. Oh, come on. Why do brains do this? Why did they do this? Why did they make us? Why did they torture us so? Oh boy. Anyway, well, we're back to Minecraft and we're back to the minings and the craftings and probably not much else because I ain't watching that movie. Has anyone seen that movie? I don't know if anyone's in my comments seen that movie. I haven't. I'm refusing to watch that. I'm really refusing to watch that because I know a lot of people are saying it's like this generation's Rocky Horror, which is cool and all, but I'm gonna be honest. Mother showed me Rocky Horror. God damn, you guys must have been on drugs for some of that movie because that movie literally is just one of the wackiest things I have ever seen. Oh my god. I really don't think anyone could seriously say that was a good movie because that movie was something else. And I'm just gonna be straight up honest with you guys. I'm a guy who doesn't really watch musicals. And I'm sitting here watching this going, the fuck is this nonsense? It's like it was such a bizarre movie, and then you had Tim Carrey, and it's like, oh my god. But then again, Jim Carrey is just Jim Carrey, but he's just there acting like this sociopath, basically. I don't like vampire psychopath something. I think I lost the plot at some point because I don't even remember what half of that movie was supposed to be about. There was something about aliens. It's like the like I have a feeling when they were making that movie alone, they must have been on drugs. There's no way they weren't. Like, oh my god. Like one of the characters first comes running out in fucking booty shorts and it's a dude with blonde hair and is like, what the hell? That's what really took me back is like, this dude with blonde hair is running out in booty shorts. What is going on? My god. Talk about a weird movie. No one. I can see why. See, here's the thing I think what's going on with my movie because my mom was alive during the time it was released. I think a large portion of why people quote unquote enjoy that movie is because of how wacky it was. A lot of the people saying this because I was listening to my mom and to what she would do whenever while they were at the theaters and stuff like that. And honestly, if you guys thought Chicken Jockey was bad, apparently you had seen nothing coming from Rocky Horror. Rocky Horror was apparently worse. In every single way. I am surprised that generation even made it. Sometimes it's like, well, I guess that generation made it because they lucked out because they actually were like just fucked around a lot of the time because they were bored. Yeah, they didn't have video games like we do. They were just bored, so they did things like that because it's fun, I guess. I don't know what was going on at that time, but goddamn, sometimes older generations can scare you, and yeah, and that's one of those moments where it's like they can scare you, and we need ender pearls if we want to go at the end anyway. But we can ignore that for now. But yeah, no, I don't know. That's like one of those movies that's like crazy. I know a lot of movies out there. I don't know. It's just I haven't been really watching anything new lately, so I don't know. I don't know about that Odyssey movie because I have read the original Odyssey. Now, mind you, it's been a very long time since I've read them, but I have read the original Odyssey. They're good. They're all good. They're really good, and I recommend you guys go read them. But I don't know. I really don't know. I don't really have much of an opinion on it. I think it's gonna be another one of those wacky moments in history where someone tried to bring the Odyssey onto the big screen, but you really can't because the problem with the Odyssey is that it's like a jumble of different stories that were told all throughout history. Some of them are potentially not factual, others were. I don't know. That's what I really like about the Odyssey. Is like, okay, you can probably imagine that there probably was a woman that most likely did lure men to her island and try to seduce them in some way, shape, or form. But then there's also the problem of well, you have the guy named Cyclops, like a big dude with just one eye. And I think the explanation for that, for why that's in the Odyssey, is because Odysseus probably ran into a dude that had like an eye patch, so they called him Cyclops. Potentially, maybe, or maybe it was just called Cyclops. We really don't. There's really no telling because the Odyssey is like generations old. It's so old that it makes the Bible look young, in my opinion. Well, from what I can tell, it's not even my opinion. I think it's actually factual that the Odyssey is so old. It makes literally all of modern literature look young. That's telling something because some of our literature is like 1,000+ years old, which is crazy. That the Odyssey is potentially that old because remember, Homer didn't just sat down one day and wrote that shit down, right? No, 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 no. He he wrote down stories that he heard from literally throughout his entire life. So he decided, you know what, I'm gonna have a written record of this Odyssey. And yeah, pretty much, just he just wrote the Odyssey like that. The reason why it's so weird is because, and why it feels so jumbled is because of that reason alone. It just it was just a bunch of random stories that people told that he managed to put together into one coherent story, I guess you could say. I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's like, oh, potentially true. Who knows? Like the Odyssey is very much just a story, the story that everyone knows, everyone loves. And it's probably one of the classic reasons why we potentially have Star Wars today. Well, Star Wars and all of our modern stories today is because of the Odyssey. So yeah, if you're gonna screen adapt the Odyssey, you gotta be careful. I think even the Iliad counts. Or wait, was it Homer that wrote the Odyssey? I don't remember. It was one of the Greek philosophers that wrote it. I know that for sure. Yeah, I know that for sure, but I don't remember who it was. Yeah, I don't remember. I think it was Homer though. I don't know. There's a lot there. There's a lot with Greece that gets a little crazy at times. So yeah, when you I think one of the main things about adapting an old story is that you kind of stepping on thin ice there. Those stories are old for a reason. They're old for a reason. Everyone knows them, and if you do not, well, adapt them properly, then you're gonna get a lot of angry people. Oh man, what? I really, I, I don't know. It's like, how do you properly adopt the Odyssey? Because a lot of it would seem like kind of random and out there. I think. Again, I need to go reread it, but it's it's one of those stories that's like it's gonna seem random and way out there for a lot of people out there in the world. Hell, I guarantee there's gonna be a lot of people that probably never read the Odyssey and probably don't understand where some of the references came from. So yeah, I don't know. It's older stories will probably persist through the decades because we tend to pass, what's good down, not what's bad. Like modern Marvel, I don't think that's going to get passed down through the generations. I think that's just going to be our generation thing. Well, I guess that's just going to be our thing. We know what Marvel is. We've seen the Marvel movies, and a lot of us read the comic books, so we know what Marvel is. But it's probably going to be something that's going to get forgotten in like, I don't know, 30 years once they stop making Marvel movies. But yeah, once they stop making Marvel movies, I think it's just gonna be something that we're all gonna forget about. Making something timeless seems like basically near impossible because you basically have to tell something that has, I don't know, speaks to someone in a way. It's just it's it's weird. It really is. Timeless stories, I don't think really happen all that often. And when they do, they will be remembered. I think a lot of stories that do age badly is because they try to copy what's going on in the world currently, and not what's going on, what would that world that story is taking place be like. Because I think that's something I didn't really like about a lot of modern shows is that, especially if they take place in supposedly a different universe, it just feels like our world. It doesn't feel like a world that's fantastical. It just feels like ours and no one else's. So I don't know, maybe I don't know. It's just something that bothers me. It doesn't really keep me up at night, but it just bothers me a little that some stories are just some things are just not worth watching because it feels too much like our world, not some other world. Say a fantasy setting or something like that where it's like, oh, it's gonna be completely different from us. They're not gonna have the same curse words we are. Fuck no. Are you kidding me? And they're probably gonna have a different set of curse words completely. And if you make something in the Star Wars universe, I hope you don't use our curses for Star Wars? Because I don't know if anyone knows this, but Star Wars does have its own set of curse words. I mean, some of them sound goofy to us, but when you think about it, it makes sense for the universe. I think that's part of the reason what made Frack from Battlestar Galactica so iconic is that it's their curse word. It kind of stands out because you knew what they were saying immediately. They didn't have to use fuck, shit, bastard, things like that all the time. They just have to say frack and everyone knows what they're saying. But I don't know. I feel like a lot of media out there just wants to use our curse words and all their stuff without really thinking about it. Thinking about how that world would, be like, how that world would cuss and everything. They wouldn't like if you look up Shakespearean curses, they sound hilarious to us, but back then that was like a great deep insult. You would never call someone some of those things, but yet to us today they sound amazing. They sound hilarious. But to them, that's like if you try to use any of that to them, they'll like, oh, you did not call me that because that's a deep insult to them and all that. So I don't know. It's one of those things that's just gonna be it's just going to be one of those moments where it's like, huh, maybe we should rethink about using specific curse words in media. Because I liked it when Battlestar Galactica used frack instead of like fuck or something like that. Because we hear fuck pretty much every single day. We don't need to hear that, right? So we don't necessarily need to know what the word is. We just need to know that they're. Oh fuck, I drowned. Just get stuck on my own dock. But yeah, we don't necessarily need to know what the curse word is. We don't need it said out loud. We just need to know that what they're saying is a curse word. Well, a cuss to them, a curse to them. It doesn't have like, well, a bad word, I guess you can say, because we don't really necessarily need to know. It just needs to be given the context of, oh, what they're saying is like a big, it's like a shit or something like that, a fuck or something. Not something that's like something that's we would recognize as fuck, shit, all that. No, no, no. It's like to them, that's an actual shit. That's an actual fuck. It's like things like that, where it's like, oh, it makes the universe feel, I guess, more real in a weird way. Because they wouldn't use our own curse words, so it makes them stand out a little bit more, in my opinion. I don't know. I'm not really a writer, so I really don't know what else to say on something like that because writers, I feel like a lot of writers just kind of forgot that we say our curse words today because that's how curse words kind of developed into. Sure, we don't want kids saying them, but imagine if you were a Star Wars character and you said blast. I mean, to them that's like saying damn. Yeah, it's like God, damn. It's like, well, they wouldn't say God, would they? They would say something else. What would they say? It's like they would say, oh, I don't know, because they really do have their own set of curse words, which do stand out as being very different from our own. I I really don't know. I gotta say it right now. I really don't know what they would say instead of like God. Because I don't think they have like a god as we know it. Like I don't think they believe in something so simple like a god. I know there's the Force and the Jedi and Sith tend to be called religions, but are do they really believe in a god of some sort? I don't know. I really don't know because I need to go look into it because I know there's some species in Star Wars and Star Trek that's like, oh, they do believe in some form of deity of some type, but I don't think they believe in necessarily a god. I really don't know. Me personally, I'm not really religious. I don't really follow religions all that much. I tend to just move on with my life and everything, so I don't really care too much about the whole. Like I know about enough about religion to just get by, but when it comes to everything else, it's like, I don't really care. I don't really care in the long run. It's like, oh, religions is like religions. It's just everyone knows it. Everyone either hates it or loves it. To be honest, if it weren't for religion, we probably wouldn't be around today because religion does inspire sometimes. Yeah, there's the argument of sometimes religion does get in the way, but then there's this problem of but it does sometimes inspire. So I don't know. It gets a little odd sometimes with things like that. Religion is always a tougher subject, I feel, and we probably shouldn't really talk too much into it. But my belief is, go believe whatever you want. If you think there's a big God in the sky, then go ahead. Me personally, probably just gonna use a normal, just gonna continue on my life and just learn about something that I find interesting. You know, just simple life things. Just learn about basic human things and, well, human being things and just do some, and just live. Just live life to the fullest. Fuck it. Let's make a new set of armor instead. Let's not bother with that set. Let's make a new set. Because I don't know. Because if you obsessively, if you're like, say, what are they called? What do you call yourselves? An atheist? If you obsessively pursue talking points against religion, then you start losing me at some points. I don't know. If you really want to try and disprove religion, you're gonna have to do a really good job, in my opinion, because there's a reason why a lot of religions are the way they are, and why they exist to this very day. I don't. It's just one of those things that you gotta remember when discussing these things. Is like, are you sure you want to debunk religions? Because it can be tough. It can be real tough. You could accidentally validate some of the religious views. So you should be very careful when actually debunking anything. Like, I feel like if you're going to debunk something, you have to come with the facts. Like, if you come in with all facts that are like easily that you think are ground proof and all that, you gotta well, are just like they're provable, they're easy to understand and everything. You gotta make sure that you have to, I don't know, like debunking is really hard in general. And trying to debunk the debunker, like sometimes debunking the debunker is easier than debunking the debunkee. And it's funny when you think about it. It's like, oh, yeah, debunking the bunkers. Like, debunkers tend to be, I think, a little overzealous at times. And that's what I don't like about debunkers sometimes. It's like, I feel like a lot of them are just overzealous and just try and pursue a single topic when they really shouldn't. That's part of the reason why I'm personally with the flat Earth debate. I feel like it's been fully debunked. If you were to ask me about flat Earth, I think it's been fully debunked. I don't think they can recover after that, after everything, because I don't know. The Earth is not flat. I know it's not flat. It's definitely some sort of oblate spheroid thing, because it makes sense with the reality. Like, it makes sense with reality if I look around me. It really does, because there's no way this planet that we live on is flat. And again, there's also the problem of, well, I can also see the moon, and there's also a day-night cycle and all that, so having it on a flat disk doesn't really make sense when things like that happens. I don't know. It's just feels off. Just feels a little off just to say it's flat without really proving it. And then there's also the problem of, like, I see people try to pursue mainstream media well, not really mainstream media, like media related things, and try to debunk other people for the things they said. Is like, and then they've missed a single fact that actually ruins their entire argument. Is like, oh, yeah, you forgot that little fact in, yeah. It's like, and then I find it funny that sometimes the debunker accidentally debunks themselves in their argument. Is like, oh, yeah, don't. By the way, if you're gonna debunk something, make sure you read your evidence. It's If you read your evidence uh, properly and everything, you you should be able to understand that sometimes it's not a good idea to share certain bits of information, because it can be pretty bad at times. So yeah, when you're doing evidence things, please, well, debunking things, please just read your evidence before you post it, because sometimes your evidence could debunk you, which is not an ideal circumstance for a debunker, right? I wouldn't do it. I really wouldn't. It wouldn't prove anything, because I did it once, accidentally debunked myself, and I'm not really bothered to it, but I managed to debunk other things. It's like, no, that's not true. Here's this, there's that. It's like, no, I don't know. Just be careful when you're posting things, especially when it comes to idiots. It's like, idiots don't understand what they're doing. I'm just gonna say that right now. They don't understand what they're doing. It's like, what's the one scientist that said it's hard for to debunk an idiot or something like that? Or I don't remember what he said. It's like, it was like it's the most famous quote, because it usually what happens when you're dealing with an idiot is that you end up dropping down to their level, and now you're basically an idiot yourself. I don't know. It's like, this is why debunking is so hard, in my opinion. Because you have to bring solid evidence, in my opinion. Like, you have to bring solid evidence. You can't just bring evidence that's like hearsay or something like that. You have to bring something solid. I think that's part of the reason why defamation lawsuits are so hard to do, is because you're basically trying to debunk something. And you have to bring some of the most solid evidence out there in order to win. If you can't do it, well, good fucking luck. Yeah, like, good fucking. It's a lot. It gets tough sometimes. Like, you know, debunking things, it's like it also you can't half-ass it. Like that's the main thing about debunking. You cannot half-ass debunking. Yeah, you can go, oh yeah, just use this picture and it'll debunk everything they said. Sometimes you're going to be dealing with an idiot, and the best way to deal with the idiot is to try and convince them why they're an idiot. I know it sounds weird, but you have to try and convince them and show them. And the best way to do that is, real world proof. Like actual real world proof. Because I think a flat earther will always say especially when it comes around the 60s, they will always say like specific pictures are not Photoshop, AI. No, not AI even. They'll just say it's CGI. That's it. It's CGI. Like they'll say every single picture released by say NASA is CGI, even though funnily enough in the 60s CGI was barely going anywhere. And I don't know, it's one of those things where it's like, huh, yeah, it's one of those things is like, huh, maybe it's not CG because in the 60s, what makes CGI so special about it being in the 60s is that in the 60s, CGI was just beginning. Hello. But yeah, CGI was literally just beginning and they really they really didn't come into real fruition until what in the maybe in the 80s or 90s? Because CG back in the 60s, CG they can only do some of the most basic of things ever. Like look up the first ever CGI thing, and it's basically just a bunch of flashing colors. That's all it really is. So if you have if you have epilepsy, please do not watch it. It is actually just a bunch of random flashing uh, images and colors with a bit of word text on it. So please do not watch it. And that's like the most basic. And that's basically all they could do with CGI, by the way, was something like that. It's just flashing colors and basic geometric shapes, and that's all they could do. That's really all they could do is just do something like that. They can't really do what we could do, like fully create a humanoid object, and they couldn't do that at the time. Hell, even in the early 2000s, we had issues doing things like that. Just look at the Shrek movies, and you'll see why. It's like because sometimes with those early 3D animation movies, you can see the little moments where you can clearly tell it's CGI or the animation is just a little bit off. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say for today, guys. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of. Honestly, I don't know what just happened. We kind of went on random tangents, which is pretty good because this is the entire point of the series. So I hope you enjoyed this episode and see you in the next one. Bye now.